Hey everybody, it's Thursday the 9th, and again, we've got a lot of stocks that seem like they should be going higher, and they're not going higher. The market is not confirming these, what look like good setups. So it's sending us a very strong message, and that message is don't be early on these stocks. We've spoken about it over and over again. I think some people are still trying to buy these. And as I mentioned, when there's C-list ideas, the whole point of a C-list idea is I'm giving you ideas basically that say it might work, but there's low odds. If you've got something better to do when there's nothing but C-list ideas, you probably ought to do that. Somebody said, "Hey, I'm getting a lot of these little." Paper cut losses, and they're starting to add up. And again, it's the environment that we're in. These C list ideas are all we have. We had, one or two B list ideas. Some of the C list ideas work. Most of them right now are not. They're failing like this, and we'll talk about a number of those. But take fresh off your list. GGG, take that one off your list. That looked like a nice consolidation at a prior level of resistance, which had the potential to get going on that weekly time frame, but it's fallen back into the base. You don't want to be involved in a stock like that. Take that one off the list as well. I would not be surprised at all if this beautiful looking little flag pattern does this and maybe even dies, or it comes down and then maybe in a week or so it's the opportunity to rally. But here's our weekly chart. So it's still bullish on the weekly time frame. We've got the familiar inverted head and shoulders pattern, which means nothing. But basically, shakeouts. I've been talking about this for the last month on all these that I prefer a shakeout first and then it gets going. Don't be buying these because it's this pretty little textbook example, because the pretty textbook examples are getting their asses handed to them. So keep an eye on OI just for a shakeout. Don't look to buy it tomorrow. BL, I mean, this is maybe your best C list idea, but it's also run from 48 to 78. We are in a market that is most likely still a stage one, as I've been talking about, for quite a while. That this is less likely. I think it's more likely that we're going to kind of flatten out. But back to the two time frames here. I'm open-minded to anything, and the point is that these stocks, we've just got to be very careful. BL looks decent. Maybe it makes a move up here, but you'd have to have your stop way down in this level. And look, 74.30. Do you want to buy it at 75.80 after a dollar and a half rally? I don't. Maybe it does this first. So keep an eye on it, but I just can't say that it's anything better than a C list idea. And given the overall market environment, the C ideas are probably C minus D plus ideas. CPNG, I probably like this the best of all of our setups. Here's our weekly chart. Still clearly a broken stock. It's below the volume weighted average price anchored to the all-time low. All these moving averages are pretty much declining in here. And onto the two time frames, you can see there's the declining 20 and 50-day moving average. It got rejected hard at the year-to-date anchored volume weighted average price on that gap up today. So for tomorrow, I think I'm not going to present it as a B list idea, but it's a C plus. I'd like to see it rally up maybe to the 2-day anchored volume weighted average price that will come like this. And then tomorrow's VWAP might look like this. And then you would want to short it somewhere over in here with a stop. I'd say probably just to give it some room, 1655. I wouldn't want to give it way up here. That's just giving up way too much edge on a large stock, a stop rather, in a stock that looks like it should be headed for a test of this low. And if it hits this low, certainly would want to cover some of it, if not most likely all of it. Fastenal, another one. It's a nice looking pullback, but it keeps pulling back. So you don't buy pullbacks, you buy strength after the pullback. It prevents you from buying here and seeing it down here. And you can look at this and say, well, it's right on that anchored VWAP, Brian. Shouldn't we buy it? I look at them as a level of interest that says, should I buy here? Do I want to buy strength here? Not really, because the declining 5-day moving average trumps it. So I'm trying to repeat all of these little things about how the puzzle comes together, all the if-thens. There's a lot of them. I realize that. It's an art. It's not a science. So, this one, I don't like it. It seems like it's more likely to continue to fail, maybe come all the way down to the 20-day moving average, have a shakeout under it. hold the year-to-date anchored VWAP, and then in 2 to 3 weeks, maybe then it can get going. We would want to keep it high on the anchored VWAP off of this peak for that. Fiverr, this one, what a beautiful little consolidation. You would have said yesterday, you could have put that in a textbook. And what happened today? It failed. It failed miserably. Well, what about the weekly time frame? It looks like it's entering a stage 2 uptrend. Fine, but it's not. And this is the part that isn't mentioned. It's, I've tried to describe it in my books, but this is the part that's too hard to explain. And this is the part where people say, but it's in a stage 2 uptrend. Shouldn't we buy it? No, you have to wait for confirmation, even on the shorter term time frame. Just because it says stage 2 doesn't mean it can't fail, like we've seen so many of them, like Frog. This one croaked here recently. I just wanted to use that joke again because it's so lame. But Hexel, HXL, what a beautiful consolidation here after this breakout on the weekly time frame. You look at that and you say, wow, I'm going to write a technical analysis book, and I'm taking my before picture because I'm going to buy it right here. And then it'll probably do that and then go like this. It's just what's happening in the market. It doesn't mean that those patterns are bad to recognize, but what's more important than recognizing those patterns is understanding what kind of environment we're in, and that not everything works the same in different market environments. MGNI, what a beautiful long-term stage 1 turning into stage 2 uptrend this could possibly be. When you look at the daily time frame, great, it's holding above the 20 and the 50-day moving average. It's holding above the anchored VWAP from that low, and it's in pullback mode. Don't buy the pullback. Don't buy the dip. Buy strength after the pullback. You won't get the low, I promise that. If your goal is to get the low, your goal should be, how do I make money with the lowest risk, highest probability odds? It's not buying pullbacks. Don't buy pullbacks. That's going to go the epithet on my headstone. NEO, a lot of people like this one too, because what a beautiful stock, ready to break out into a stage 2 uptrend. And maybe it will, but right now the evidence says the market isn't ready yet. It's below a declining 5-day moving average. Leave it the hell alone, unless you just want, if you enjoy losing money, then buy these stocks as they're consolidating. We've been talking about OLN and what a pretty little pullback this is, but it got below the 5-day moving average, and now it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do below a declining 5-day moving average. It's supposed to go lower. The sellers took control of the intermediate term time frame. I think that, one of the best ways to probably have short exposure in this market is ARK. Now, it's a little bit conflicting because we have a rising 20 and 50-day moving average, but this portfolio is loaded with all the garbage. If the ARK rallies and rolls over like this, that might be an opportunity with a stop, maybe somewhere up here. If you can't short it, then go with SARK. SARK is one time the negative. That is, it's an inverse one time. There's no leverage. So we would be looking for it to pull back like this and then buy here. I do 100% of my analysis of inverse funds and that with the underlying. I don't do my technical analysis on the SARK. They trade different, so that'll do it. Just maybe take the day off tomorrow.